stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Welcome everybody to Sim Racing Media, home tonight of the Monsters of Speed New Gen Cup Series. First round of the playoffs live from Lebanon, Tennessee, home of Nashville Superspeedway. I am Mike Damoni up in the booth, and tonight these monsters here get ready to take on Nashville. We'll go ahead and pop up the standings here as it's the first round of the playoffs. We got 16 that are going. Blake Howell, Mark Parkhurst, Ricky Gonzalez, Austin Messler, Kevin Gibney Jr., Greg Wood, Dylan McDonald, Jonathan Cogswell, Zach Woods, Chris Wheeler, David Mayo, George Jewell, Wes Fuller, Ira Kohlhaas, Bill Sleep, and Angel Santiago are the drivers that have made this playoff season. They will have 2 races to get qualified for the round of 8. So we will see how that pans out here as they're just getting ready to hit the track to qualify for the RJS Automotive 200. So let's jump down to the track and see what's going on here. Wes Fuller's one of the first ones out. Start his lap right now. Like quite a few are out making their way. Wes Fuller's about 3/4 of the way done, coming through 4 here. As you can see, they get a little bit loose coming off of 4. We'll see it probably most of the night. It will be a little rough there, but once the tires start to wear in, I believe they will be good to go, as Wes Fuller just put up a 30.61, but it was immediately overtaken by Greg Wood Jr. with a 29.98. Blake Howell's also up there with a 30.22. Austin Missler in that Mountain Dew number 10 Chevy is just off of the pace there at a 30.08. Kevin Gibney Jr. down a 30.39. He was basically qualified for this race from the very beginning after winning there at Daytona. George Jewell just jumped up there with a 30.32. So the top basically 4 drivers are not separated by much, with Wes Fuller sitting in that 4 position with a 30.1, and Greg Wood Jr. up on the provisional pole right now with a 29.98. So not a whole lot separating those two at the moment. Evan Gibney Jr. finishing his lap here. Ooh, Mark Gonzalez. Finished his lap, went a 29.95 on his third and final lap. 3/100ths faster than Greg Wood Jr. Mark Gonzalez, a little bit of hard luck, had to miss a few races and wasn't able to qualify for this round of 16. Jonathan Cogswell finishing up his laps there with a 30.31. Ricky Gonzalez just getting ready to start. He's one of the faster guys I saw in practice, but we'll see how that translates over here to qualifying. The banking in the corners about 14 degrees, and then it kind of flattens out there, and you'll see coming off of 2 and 4 they might get a little bit squirrely if they get on that the gas pedal a little bit too soon. We've seen them slipping and sliding a little bit as Ricky Gonzalez finishes his first lap. That's a 30.28. Good enough for 9th at the moment, with looks like 4 cars left to go out. Goes a little bit faster with a 30.02. So now the top 6 are getting even closer as Dylan McDonald just put down a 30.08. So barely over a 1/10 of a second separates the first 7 drivers here on this qualifying run. And Dylan went faster that time with a 29.96. Mark Parkhurst just finishing his first lap in the number 4 Ford. Here, and he does. Now the first 8 drivers are separated by less than a 1/10 of a second. So all these guys have definitely shown speed out here. Angel Santiago's just now starting his qualifying laps. Got a couple minutes to get him in. If you're in the YouTube chat, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can talk to me here. Let me know who you think's gonna be the first driver to qualify for the round of 8. We head from here at Nashville. We go all the way up to New Hampshire, and then they will have a bye week before they get set for the last 3 races of the season, which includes Kansas and Darlington in that round of 8, and then it wraps up with Homestead-Miami for the final 4. Tonight we are stage racing as usual. 35 lap 35 for stage 1, lap 85 for stage 2. We're set for 151 laps here at Nashville Superspeedway. Angel Santiago got his first lap down in a 30.27. Coming to the second lap. He can go a little bit faster there. And he does not. He goes just a hair slower. Looked like he had a little bit of bobble coming out of 4 there before he headed to that start-finish line. And he goes a little bit faster that time at a 30.05. So the top 9 drivers are separated by just a hair over a 1/10 of a second. These guys are definitely ready to put on a show. And as we get set, got a minute here. From the sponsor of the race, he elected to sponsor this because Randy Sellers from Mayfield, Kentucky is known as not only one of the best, but also the cleanest driver in the Western Kentucky history. With an unknown total of feature wins, it can only be estimated that he has over 700 wins, probably north of 25 track championships, several state championships in Tennessee, Kentucky, and Missouri. Not to mention he was the 1993 UMP National Late Model Champ. He is the only driver other than Scott Bloomquist to win a Summer National feature at the Benton, Missouri track. He's also an all-around good dude, and he wanted to sponsor the race in honor of him and his racing career. He and his wife Jennifer have been nothing but gold to me, which is why I carry their logo on each and every one of my cars. And that is RJS Automotive in Fancy Farm, Kentucky. So as they get set here, Mark Gonzalez will be on the pole. Dylan McDonald starting P2. We'll get these guys in their car. See about maybe grabbing Mark here. Like I said, we got Mark Gonzalez, Dylan McDonald, Greg Wood Jr., Ricky Gonzalez, Mark Parkhurst, Austin Missler, Angel Santiago, Blake Howell, Wes Fuller, Kevin Gibney Jr. in row 5. Row 6 is George Jewell, Nara Kohlhaas. It looks like Ira's got those RJS decals on. James McCanney and Jonathan Cogswell in row 7. Row 8 is Bill Sleep and Zach Woods. Got David Mospaugh and David Mayo rounding out the field. Jump back front here. Lights are out on the pace car side. Talk to Mark a little. as they get stacked up here, making their way down the backstretch. Mark Gonzalez on the inside of row 1. Will okay. The lights are out on the pace car this time. Well, the lights were out on the pace car. What's going on here? Well, we got a minute. Let me see if I can get Mark up here. Hey, Mark. Mike up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, heck of a run there. You were barely able to beat out Dylan and Greg and stuff, but how's the track out there? Is it a little slick or?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely slick. There's also these bumps that get your car really loose, so you just have to watch out for it to snap on you. And so these couple laps, I'm just going to take it easy. If they want to take the lead, they can have it.
Awesome. Well, hopefully we get everything sorted out here and we can get back to green flag racing, or get to green flag racing after a little hiccup there.
Yeah, hopefully.
But I'll let you go, and we'll see what we can do here.
Alrighty. Have a good one.
You too. All right, that was pole setter Mark Gonzalez here. Pace lights are out on the pace car. He is down and away, so here we go to kick off the playoffs. Mark Gonzalez on the inside, Dylan McDonald on the outside. And they are off and away. Like Blake Howell was starting to look to the outside, try and make it 3 wide. Austin Missler as well, sitting up there. Mark Gonzalez kind of floating around the middle. Floats up just in front of Dylan McDonald. And they're 3 wide behind him with Blake Howell, Austin Missler, and Mark Parkhurst there. Looks like Ricky Gonzalez is down on the bottom, trying to figure out the shortest way around this track. Greg Wood Jr. is on the outside of Ricky Gonzalez. Blake Howell on the outside of Parkhurst. Missler is outside of Wes Fuller. As you notice on the screen, or on the ticker as it goes around, you have 18 cars out here. The ones in blue are the ones that have qualified and are in this playoff run. Well, Mark Gonzalez said he was going to take it easy out here this first couple laps, but he is putting down a 30.16. So Bill McDonald might elect to try and take the lead from him here, but is going to stay right behind him at the moment. Got Wes Fuller and Austin Missler side by side. Blake Howell goes up to the top and starts down to the bottom, trying to get as much speed as he can out of that number 26. Dylan McDonald did just take the lead there. Looks like just behind him, Ricky Gonzalez and Greg Wood Jr. are battling side by side. Almost touching there for a little bit, but Blake Howell had a huge run, got right to the back bumper of Mark Parkhurst. Is going to give him a little love tap there. Looks like Blake's able to carry quite a bit of speed when he goes from that high line down to the yellow line in the corner. Back in the field a little bit. We got James McCaney and Kevin Gibney Jr. side by side here. Ira Koholst just in front of them. Jonathan Cogswell just behind them. Zach Woods making his way up. And we go back to Bill Sleep, David Mazapa, and David Mayo. And Angel Santiago is bringing up the tail end here. But out front, Dylan McDonald, as we work our way to lap 7 here. We're starting to settle down here a little bit and work through the laps. Greg Wood Jr. maintaining his position at 78 Pulse Graphics Toyota. Pulse Graphics is one of the sponsors that helps put on this league and these races. Ricky Gonzalez back and forth. Side by side is Blake Howell and Mark Parkhurst. Blake Howell down on the inside. And it looks like Wes Fuller's trying to make that pass as well. Down to the inside he goes. Tries to dive down a little bit faster, but not quite enough speed as Parkhurst gets down in front of him. Austin Missler's closing the gap on the back of Fuller there. Fuller goes down below that yellow line down to the apron to try and get a little bit more speed, and it looks like it's going to work as he is now side by side with Parkhurst. Parkhurst able to carry off a little bit more speed than Fuller did on the exit of turn 2 there. But Fuller is still down to his inside. Parkhurst and Fuller still battling out, side by side. Fuller fades back just a little bit, but closes. Ooh, looks like Austin Missler just got into the wall a little bit. That's going to slow his run down. As George Jules to his outside and is going to catch him and make that pass out on the high side. Mark Parkhurst is able to drive away a little bit from Wes Fuller. Blake Howell looking to the inside of Ricky Gonzalez. Didn't quite have enough speed to get there this time. Looks to dive in, drive it in deep here. Gets just inside of him. Ricky Gonzalez has to let up a little bit to allow Blake Howell through. And Blake Howell will take that position but Ricky is battling back on the high side. Looks like they can hold it for a little bit, but then it just fades away. Ooh, Greg Wood Jr. glides up into the wall there. Mark Parkhurst trying to get a run on Ricky Gonzalez. As Blake Howell is now up 5 positions, sitting in P3, as the top 2 drivers of Dylan McDonald and Mark Gonzalez have driven away from the field a little ways. Mark Gonzalez is the highest, has the most points of the drivers that did not qualify for the championship playoff rounds. And currently he is running second. He is just out racing for wins. Blake Howell, Ricky Gonzalez, Mark Parkhurst, Wes Fuller, Greg Wood Jr., after flipping that wall there, fell back 4 positions, but it looks like he still been able to maintain his speed that he had, just not able to pass anybody just yet. George Jewell, Ira Koholz. Take a look at Ira there, running the RJS Automotive decals there. Austin Missler after that little bobble is still fading back just a little bit as Jonathan Cogswell's down to his inside. Missler's running a little bit different line, trying to give his teammate a little bit of ground there to make that pass. Zach Woods, Kevin Gibney Jr., James McCaney, David Mayo in this next group here. And we got David Mazepah and Bill Sleep, all who look like they've lost the draft and are unable to keep up with them. So we are 16 laps away from the stage break. But once we get that, we will see what the pit strategy is, and if anybody elects to not take tires or take only right sides or something to get a little bit more track position, because it looks like it's been hard to pass here. There's only been a couple guys that have been able to do it. Blake Howell being one of them. He's up 5 positions. Mark Parkhurst is up 1. Biggest mover right now is Jonathan Cogswell, working his way through the traffic. He is up 6 positions as he drives down to the inside of George Jewell there and try and complete that pass as they come out of the turn. Looks like Wes Fuller might have used a little bit too much of his tires to try and keep up with the lead pack there, as he's starting to fall back just a little bit. But they do have a group of 3 cars, and there's 3 more behind them trying to catch him as well. But we will see if they can work together and get back up to that lead pack. But I don't know that anybody is going to be able to catch up with Dylan McDonald and Mark Gonzalez, as they are almost a little over a second ahead of Blake Howell. Blake Howell's kind of by himself. Mark Parkhurst is about a 3/4 of a second back. Ricky Gonzalez about the same. These guys need to kind of stack up a little bit as Jonathan Cogswell and George Jewell are both trying to pass Wes Fuller here. Like I said, it looks like Wes Fuller might have used a little bit too much of his tires as he's starting to fall back quite a bit here in the early going. Plenty of time left to make adjustments and go from there. You're guaranteed at least 2 cautions here that will help you. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Angel Santiago as he's working his way to get back on the lead lap. If we have anybody battling anywhere close here, Cogswell, George Jewell, Wes Fuller. Ira Kohlhaas is going to try and pass Wes Fuller here. Austin Missler goes down to the inside and is going to look to pass Greg Wood Jr., but not quite enough speed there as he kind of fades as they come out of the corner. Greg Wood Jr. and Kohlhaas are starting to close in a little bit on Fuller there. Wood Jr. just inside of Kohlhaas. Let's see if we can take a look and see what Greg Wood's seeing here. Drops down to the inside. It's a little bit of a run. Going to be able to do it, and he does. Clears off. Jump back and get Ira's cam here. Like he has a little bit of speed there. Gonna try and see if he might be able to make a move back to Wood there, but not quite. You can kind of see a little bit of difference in of when they let off and when they brake. It's a big run here, but looks like Ira lets off just a hair before Wood does, and then looks like they just about got stacked up there as well to jump back out here. Kelly in the chat there. Double check the settings and make sure everything's good. Our Kohlhaas was able to make that pass, but now he's up basically out in the 3 path. Greg Wood Jr. is able to make that pass back. Austin Messler's down on the inside, going to go side by side with Kohlhaas. Ira just couldn't keep up there for a minute. He drove it in hard there to try and pass Greg Wood, but just couldn't do it there. Ira gets a little bit of run on Missler. Starts to pull away, and then Missler battles back down on that inside. Seems like if you can go to the high side and get right back down on that yellow line on the inside, they seem to be able to carry a lot more speed and don't have to check up quite so quick when they make their way through the corner. But up front, Dylan McDonald is running away with it. But Missler and Kohlhaas are battling side by side. Kevin Gibney Jr. is pulled into the picture as they can't get straight away and set up again. Gibney Jr. gets right on the back of Austin Missler. Tries to get him to go a little bit faster, but nothing doing at the moment as they are still side by side. Missler just barely clears Kohlhaas, and they are back single file. Kevin Gibney Jr. down to the inside. Gonna try and work the inside line here to get past Kohlhaas, but not quite able to do it on that corner. Slides up a little bit, gets a little loose, drives down to the apron, is able to save it, and we stay green. Gibney Jr. and Kohlhaas battling out. Kohlhaas has not had a break yet. Gibney Jr. makes that pass. Kohlhaas had a little bit of a wiggle there. David Mayo looking to get into the battle as well here. But as we work our way through the last laps of stage number 1, Dylan McDonald, Mark Gonzalez have been the class of the field so far, leading them by about a second over Blake Howell. Mark Parkhurst, Ricky Gonzalez all back there as well. They go working their way through. I don't think Mark Parkhurst or Blake Howell are going to be able to work anything out, go any faster to catch these guys yet. Mark Gonzalez into the wall as he bounces off the wall. Dylan McDonald is able to take the stage. Mark Gonzalez in second. Blake Howell in third. Mark Parkhurst, Ricky Gonzalez, Jonathan Cogswell, George Jewell, Wes Fuller, Greg Wood Jr., and Austin Missler. So that is the end of stage number 1. Get them all caught up back here, and then we will see if we can get a hold of Dylan McDonald, who was the stage 1. Probably not going to be able to pull him up. Everybody should be taking 4 tires and fuel. Angel's going to try and get his couple laps back here. So Dylan McDonald is the stage winner. Won't be able to talk to him. Unavailable. But heck of a run. He started P2. Was able to work around Mark Gonzalez there. What happened? Like he must have got a speeding penalty, so that would put him in the back of the field. We got Dylan McDonald, Blake Howell going to be on row 1. McDonald was able to get the most points he could in stage 1. We'll look to improve on that on stage 2. I said stage 2 will stop at lap 85. The field. Going out quick here. We'll get them all stacked up and ready to go back green. One thing that these guys need to be aware of is they all came in and got fresh tires, so they're going to be a little bit cold. So it's going to be a little different than driving what they just pulled in the pits with. So it looks like McDonald goes high. Howell and Parkhurst go low. Gonzalez goes high. Fuller high. So Dylan McDonald, Blake Howell on the front row. Ricky Gonzalez and Mark Parkhurst, row 2. Row 3, Wes Fuller and Jonathan Cogswell. Row 4, George Jewell and Austin Missler. Row 5, Kevin Gibney Jr. and Zach Woods. Row 6 is Ira Kohaus and James McCanney. We've got David Mayo, Bill Sleep, Greg Wood Jr., David Mazapa, and then Mark Gonzalez and Angel Santiago. So the field will be under McDonald's control here as they make their way around the 3 and 4 corner here. Pace car will dive to the inside and we will be back to green flag racing. Dylan McDonald is down and away as they work through this first corner. Blake Howell down to the inside. Dylan McDonald staying high. Didn't get a little bit wiggly there, but they're still side by side down the backstretch into 3 and 4. Blake Howell just a little bit in front. See if McDonald. Oh, Howell has a little shake, and Dylan McDonald goes almost into that outside wall. They stay side by side with both of them having a little bit of a problem. Ricky Gonzalez right behind them. Parkhurst and Fuller were side by side for a little while. He does it again. Like he gets a little bit loose coming off of 2, and Blake Howell has got to settle down and get back behind Dylan McDonald. Trying to make that pass early, and they were just side by side, and both of them just couldn't handle it too much. Both of them were slipping and sliding just enough to slow them down, and they're not driving away from the field. We got Parkhurst, Cogswell, Fuller, Austin Messler, George Jewell, Kevin Gibney Jr., Ira Kohaus round out the top 10. They're all pretty much single file now. But while we have a minute, and they are set that way, we're going to go ahead and step aside and maybe pay some bills here. Once again, this is the Monsters of Speed round number 1, the RJS Automotive 200 from Nashville Superspeedway on the Sim Racing Media Network. I will be right back.
What's up, guys? Roger Debo, front tire changer for the 45 Alpha Prime car. You're watching Sim Racing Media.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Once again, this is the Monsters of Speed Racing League New Gen Cup Series, round number 1 in the playoffs, the RJS Automotive 200 from Nashville Superspeedway. You didn't miss a thing as we were away. Saw a little bit of good, clean racing. Like a couple passes were made, but Dylan McDonald, Blake Howell, still up front, leading this race. We go back to Blake Howell. Jonathan Cogswell has moved up 11 positions from where he started. Ricky Gonzalez, Mark Parkhurst of West Fuller, Kevin Gibney Jr., Austin Missler, and Ira Kohlhaas are battling it out back here. Ira gets almost to his back bumper, gonna try and get closer, but not quite right now. Floating around 3 wide back behind them. We have Zach Woods, James McCaney, Mark Gonzalez, Greg Wood Jr., Mark Gonzalez down on the inside of McCaney, trying to make that pass, and he will do it. As Greg Wood Jr. and McCaney almost get together, Wood Jr. makes that pass, and now they will look to catch the 60 of Zach Woods. Dylan McDonald continues to lead the race, having a good run tonight. Started P2 and was able to stay behind Mark Gonzalez for a little bit and then make his move when it was available, and hasn't looked back since. Blake Howell up 6 positions into P2. All right. Jonathan Cogswell, Ricky Gonzalez. And we got Kevin Gibney Jr. back here making some moves. Austin Missler was trying to go to the high side. Gibney Jr. jumps up and tries to put a stop to that. The 07 of George Jewell down to the inside, going to make that pass on Ira Kohlhaas. As they are side by side. Austin Missler keeps looking for a way to get by Gibney Jr., but just can't quite do it. Shasta in the chat as well. Dylan McDonald catching. Nope. I thought I saw him catching the back end of the field, but not quite yet. As we have about 25 laps until the next stage break. Jonathan Cogswell was able to pull away from Ricky Gonzalez and Mark Parkhurst here. West Fuller back there. Don't know what happened there, but here we go. Parkhurst, Wes Fuller, Austin Missler, back on Greg Wood Jr. Looks like Ricky Gonzalez and Mark Gonzalez both dropped right there. What happened? But back up front, Dylan McDonald is out to almost 0.8 of a second lead over Blake Howell. Blake Howell has a rearview mirror full of Jonathan Cogswell. Cogswell been one of the biggest movers all night. He is up to P3, 11 more than where he started in that Roasted Gems coffee, number 27 Ford. We're going to go back to Mark Parkhurst. Wes Fuller, Austin Missler, and George Jewell are all having a decent little battle back here. Austin Missler just to the inside of Wes Fuller. Going to make that pass. George Jewell floats up. Tries to get almost right behind him. Jewell almost has a run, but just not quite enough speed to get there as he dives to the inside. Going to try and make it through here, but again, he looks like Wes Fuller's just able to stay on the gas a little bit longer. And we are completing lap 66. Like Gonzalez might have been able to get back going again, following that little bit of equipment failure, it looked like. Dak Woods, Greg Wood Jr. Woods and Wood seem to find each other on the track quite often. They race each other through lap 67. Ira Kohlhaas still up one position from where he started, but he was racing up closer to the front as they have faded back a little ways. And as we look at Ira, like he's the person that elected to sponsor this race and did it for Randy Sellers from Mayfield, Kentucky. As he goes to the inside of Ricky Gonzalez. Ricky Gonzalez back on track. Down a few laps. Dylan McDonald still leading the race by over a half second. Look at. Let's take a look here at George Jewell making his way around the track. Gets up almost to that wall. Doesn't look like he's really shifting or slamming on the brakes. Looks like he's just trying to keep it smooth as he works through the corners. Come back and take a look at Wes Fuller. Wes Fuller seems to be able to hold it a little bit longer than Jewel was there for a little bit. But he is now fading back a little ways. Kevin Gibney Jr. up 2 from where he started. Was racing for the top 5 position, but has lost a little bit of ground. Might have used his tires up a little bit there. As they work through lap 71. Zach Woods, Greg Wood Jr. Looks like Dylan McDonald is just making his way through the front stretch into turn 1. As let's see, Bill Sleep coming down the back stretch. He is the last car on the lead lap. Nashville Superspeedway reopened in 2020 or 2021. They ran a race on June 20th. The NASCAR Cup Series did. They were sold almost immediately after in November. The Speedway Motorsports that owns a ton of tracks. These guys here in this new Gen Cup Series in this next gen car almost got the NASCAR Cup Series qualifying record. Eric Almirola holds it at 29.557. So just a little ways off. Go back through the field. Ricky Gonzalez making his way through here. He's down a couple laps after that little bit of equipment failure. Cogswell's lost the draft, it looks like, as Austin Missler has caught up to Mark Parkhurst. Let's see if he can get that nose behind that car and suck up to him and make this pass. As we have less than 10 laps to go in this stage. Austin Missler almost into the wall. Got a little bit loose there. Loses a little bit of ground. But still up 1 position from where he started. Zach Woods has been running pretty good. He's up 7 positions from where he started. Still ran one of the fastest laps in the race. Ran a 30.21 a few laps ago, but still ran pretty well. Leader also ran a 30.21. Zach Woods currently running back in 9th position. Like Greg Wood Jr. went to pit lane for a little bit. Now it looks like he is... Angel was able to pass him, so Angel still is the first car a lap down. Angel's hoping this doesn't happen right here, but it's going to. Now Bill Sleep is the first car a lap down. As Blake Howell and Dylan McDonald both make the pass. Jonathan Cogswell going to catch him on the straightaway here and pass him, as well as Sleep gets into the wall just a little bit. Then the next three car pack is Parker, Smithler, and Jewel. Once again, you are watching the Monsters of Speed New Gen Cup Series RJS Automotive 200. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Join me in the chat. Turn on those bell notifications. Tell me who you think's going to win. What you think might happen. Is Dylan McDonald going to continue to dominate this race? As Bill Sleep is into the wall again, coming out of the corner just in front of this trio. Austin Missler down to the inside of Mark Parkhurst as Parkhurst checked up to avoid Sleep there. Side by side they go through turn 4. Coming towards the start-finish line. Looks like Austin Messler's going to get the lead there. Jonathan Cogswell was able to pass Blake Howell. As we are getting ever so close to the stage break. Also, if you are on Facebook, go ahead and hit that that like, share, and go ahead and comment and tell me what you think's going to happen here. As Dylan McDonald and Jonathan Cogswell are battling it out here. Looks like Blake Howell heads to pit lane. So does George Jewell. David Mayo as well. James McCaney. So it looks like they're electing to hit pit lane a little before the stage ends. So it's either they're going to be close on fuel or they want to try and get out front for the final 66 laps that will happen. So Cogswell takes over the lead and is out to over a half-second lead over Dylan McDonald, Austin Missler, Mark Parkhurst, Wes Fuller are now the top 5. So we did have a few rounds of pit stops here. It looks like 9 on the lead lap, so see if Blake Howell is able to make that pit strategy work, as right now he is scored as the first car a lap down. As we work our way through lap 85. Could be the stage break here. They cross the start finish line. Jonathan Cogswell coming out of turn 4. We'll take stage number 2. So Jonathan Cogswell, Austin Missler was able to pass Dylan McDonald there, it looked like. Mark Parkhurst, Wes Fuller, Ira Kohlhaas, Zach Woods, David Mazeppa, Kevin Gibney Jr., and Blake Howell. Like these guys are on fumes almost. See how this all plays out here shortly. For his pit stop. Our way down pit lane. after Oswald makes it out of his pit. We'll see if we can get a hold of him here. Hey, Jonathan, Mike up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, how you doing?
Not too bad. So how close were you on fuel there?
I was out of fuel about the back half. The back stretch, I was out of fuel.
Yeah, when I saw everybody else pitting, I'm like, oh, they're either going to be out of fuel or it's going to be really, really close.
I coasted, barely made it.
Well, you got those bonus points there, so I guess that's all that matters right now. But what's the strategy coming into this last section here?
I seem to have good speed, so basically just take care of my car and don't wear the tires too much because I got top 3 in the bag. Just got to bring it home.
Definitely. Well, I will wish you good luck, and maybe I'll be talking to you at the end of the race.
I hope so. I've never won before, so it'd be nice if I could win for once.
All right. I will let you get back to it and maybe talk to you later.
Yeah, I won a stage, so I'm already a winner.
So that was Jonathan Cogswell. Basically said exactly what I was already thinking there, that they were pretty much out of fuel, so couldn't quite make it there. But with that being said, with 66 laps, a little less than that, imagine we're going to see quite the pit strategy, and the pit strategy might be important as these guys are putting on a heck of a show and keeping their cars clean. Working their way through towards lap 90 here. Gonna stack up. Austin Missler and Jonathan Cogswell. Cogswell elects the high side. Parkhurst down on the inside. Kohlhaas outside row 2. Kevin Gibney Jr. Blake Howell. And everybody else. Pace car is in. Austin Missler has the field under his control here. Geico restart zone, and he is down and away. Cogswell just slow to go there. Lets the bottom 3 go first. Ricky Gonzalez is laps down, but he is up here in the 3rd place on the track at the moment. But back behind them, got Blake Howell, Ira Kohlhaas, Kevin Gibney Jr., Greg Wood Jr., George Jewell, Angel Santiago, all battling there. Greg Wood Jr. jumps up towards the high side, trying to work his way around Blake Howell and Ira Kohlhaas. Blake Howell makes it around Kohlhaas. Kevin Gibney Jr. staying down to the inside. Wood is right on the back bumper of Kohlhaas. Gibney Jr., Wood Jr. side by side. George Jewell. trying to figure out which one he wants to follow. Angel Santiago just behind them. And Austin Missler just threw down the fastest lap of the race with a 30.16. Mark Parkhurst right behind him with a 30.19. These guys are flying up here now. Jonathan Cogswell sitting back in P3. Blake Howell in 4th and Kohlhaas in 5th. Watch the battle here. Let's go on board here with Blake Howell. See him dive down to the inside, try to get that nose just inside that left rear quarter panel of Cogswell. Just can't quite get it, floats up to the wall, tries to maintain as much speed as he can, and Cogswell dives down before Howell could there. Howell gets right to his back bumper. Three wide now. Fuller. Who's that? Fuller. Mayo. And Zach Woods. And Angel Santiago was there as well. David Mayo up on the high side. Wes Fuller slides up. David Mayo into the wall. Bounce off, comes down just a little bit. Mayo's carrying a little bit of speed there. Wes Fuller dives down to the inside. Front of Zach Woods. Woods now in front of Mayo. Mayo trying to get that speed back up there as he had just before they went three wide. Blake Howell has faded back just a little bit now. Ira Kohlhaas and Ricky Gonzalez. Ricky Gonzalez not racing for position, but still involved here towards the front part of the field. Kohlhaas and Howell are in 4th and 5th position. Kevin Gibney Jr. about a second and a half back. Greg Wood Jr. as well. George Jewell down to the inside. Almost was able to get to the bumper of Greg Wood Jr., but not quite. Dylan McDonald goes up to the high side, bounces off the wall, able to maintain speed though. See if that has any effect on the way his car handles. Was running out front most of the first part of the race, but didn't quite have enough fuel to make it, so had to hit pit lane a little early and is now back in the field. Trying to carry as much speed as he can, as you see him go about to the middle on by the start finish line, dive down all the way to the yellow line in turns 1 and turns 2, and then float back up almost to the wall again. Dylan McDonald try and make that pass on Greg Wood Jr. It looks like he will here. Side by side they go. Not quite enough. Greg Wood Jr. almost into the wall. Gets a little bit loose. Allows George Jewell and Wes Fuller to make that pass as well. Like Zach Woods is going to try and make the pass after the little hiccup there from Greg Wood Jr. as we complete 103 laps. Dylan McDonald was able to make that pass. Now he's looking towards Kevin Gibney Jr. We've seen how fast McDonald's car is when it gets that clean air, and it's pretty clean air right at the moment. We'll see if he's able to make up some time and close the gap to Kevin Gibney Jr. and then see how fast he can make his way through the front 6 trucks. David Mayo, David Mazepin, battling back here, James McHaney, Parkhurst and Mitzler side by side going down the front stretch. Parkhurst is able to get that run. Mitzler sitting just outside of his teammate in Jonathan Cogswell. These guys are definitely trying to run to get that team championship. And the caution is out. See what brought it out here. Blake Howell, Ira Kohlhaas, side by side. Still side by side. Oh, barely catches that left rear quarter panel, sends Ira Kohlhaas into the wall. On board with Blake Howell here. See Kohlhaas just on the outside. It's that little run, just barely into him, and around he goes. So caution on lap 106. Everybody's hitting pit lane except for a couple who are trying to get that wave around to get back on the lead lap. Angel Santiago definitely wanted to see that. It looks like he is going to be back on the lead lap. So after early trouble, Angel Santiago is going to be back here and racing on the lead lap. Everybody pitted there. 106. We should be good to go to make it on fuel, if I am not mistaken. Especially with a few of these caution laps, so we won't be going green until, say, up 109. So we'll have 42 laps. These guys should all be good on fuel and should be able to make it to the end. Got Kayla Hall and Joseph McDonald in the chat. And for Dylan. Dylan was out in front. He was leading. Well, he won stage 1. He was leading through most of stage 2 till looked like he ran out of fuel and had to hit pit lane pretty quickly. Coming to the start-finish line. See if it's going to be this time. It looks like it is. They're going to choose what side they want to go in. Mark Parkhurst down on the inside, Blake Howell on the outside. And we got Austin Missler, Kevin Gibney Jr., Jonathan Cogswell elects the low side, Greg Wood Jr. elects the high side. Zach Woods, Wes Fuller, David Mayo, Dylan McDonald, currently running in 10th right now. James McKinney, George Jewell, David Mazapa, Ira Kohlhaas, and Angel Santiago is making his way back out here. The man with the plan, Mark Parkhurst, gets to decide when everybody gets to go and brings us back to the green flag. Blake Howell gets down as close as he can to Parkhurst there. See when Parkhurst is going to go hit that Geico restart zone, and he is down and away. That inside lane gets a little bit of a jump. Austin Missler gets just in front of Blake Howell. Blake Howell down to the inside of Missler, side by side as they battle down the backstretch. Blake Howell gets a little bit of a lead there. Coming out. Will he have enough to cross over? And he gets a little wiggle there as Austin Missler goes out into that wall as well. Behind then, Kevin Gibney Jr. and Jonathan Cogswell, with Greg Wood Jr. making his way back towards the front. Zach Woods putting in a huge effort here, up 9 positions, 2P7, as Dylan McDonald's working that high line, going to try and pass him. Cogswell and Kevin Gibney Jr. get into each other there. Just a little door touching, and we'll stay green, but that is definitely not what they wanted to do there. As a 78 of Greg Wood Jr. takes advantage, is now in front of both of those drivers. Austin Missler just in front of him, Blake Howell and Mark Parkhurst. Parkhurst is out to about a half-second lead, as everybody behind him was starting to battle a little bit, and it looks like George Jewell and David Mayo are battling side by side as they come through turn 1 and 2. George Jewell was able to make that pass. Dylan McDonald just threw down the fastest lap of the race with a 30.08, and he is looking for more as he jumps down to the inside of Jonathan Cogswell. Makes the pass there. Cogswell into the wall again. Just gets a little bit loose and floats up. They are clearing off as Dylan McDonald is making his way back towards the front, as is Greg Wood Jr. Both of them had a little bit of trouble, but they have been able to overcome it and are back towards the lead. Greg Wood Jr. just put down the fastest lap now, 30.03. So these two are on the move. Blake Howell and Mark Parkhurst better be looking in their mirror for these two guys. Austin Missler, Jonathan Cogswell back in 5th and 6th. Cogswell running a little bit different line than Missler. They're gaining a little bit of ground. Greg Wood Jr. looking to pass Blake Howell on the high side. You're on board now with Greg Wood Jr. Let's jump over to that driver's seat and see what he's doing here. Running just a little bit higher than Blake Howell. It seems to be working as he doesn't have to turn the steering wheel quite so much. See, as they come down through turn 3 and 4, not quite enough speed to carry it over. Dylan McDonald is trying to get a run on Greg Wood Jr., and he does, down to the inside, and it's going to make that pass. Greg Wood Jr. jumps in behind him, and they battle through the backstretch. Greg Wood Jr. is going to try and stick his nose down there. Bill McDonald floats up the track just a little bit. They almost touch coming out of 4th. And they are side by side still. Dylan McDonald on the high side. Greg Wood Jr. on the low side by side, nearly touching, can hardly put a piece of paper between them. Greg Wood Jr. checks up a little bit. Austin Missler gets into the back of him, but they were at least going straight, so no damage really done there other than a little bit of slowdown from Greg Wood Jr. Side by side for the lead. Blake Howell down on the inside, going to try and pass Mark Parkhurst, and he will not quite get there for that lap, but he has the run and has his nose in front and will make the pass coming out of turn 2. Floats up in front of Mark Parkhurst. Blake Howell, your new leader. Mark Parkhurst slows down just a little bit. Looks like he's going to try and set up Blake Howell for another pass once they get down towards the end, as everybody is now starting to file out. Dylan McDonald is only less than half a second back from Mark Parkhurst. Greg Wood Jr. is a half second back from McDonald. Then we have Cogswell and Missler battling it out for the top 5. Kevin Gibney Jr., Zach Woods, George Jewell, and Wes Fuller are the top 10. We are less than 30 laps to go. I will step aside for a moment and we'll go side by side again. You won't miss anything. We'll be back shortly. Once again, this is the Sim Racing Media. And this is the Monsters of Speed New Gen Cup Series RJS Automotive 200 at Nashville.
What's up, guys?
Time, all of them within 3.5 tenths of each other tonight is going to be a very closely competitive race.
As the field works its way out of the 3-4 complex, the only thing it's left to say is wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point safety harness, because race fans, it's showtime!
Looking cars already. Green flag will fly.
Well, oh, they're wrecking! Well, one thing that you're going to see at this track that we haven't seen the last few weeks is a surface that's multi-group. I think this is the first multi-group surface we're going to have.
After an amazing race at Daytona, we now come to the West Coast and Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California for the second round of the Way She Goes Racing League Cup Series.
What's up, guys? Roger Debo, front tire changer for the 45 Alpha Prime car. You're watching Sim Racing Media.
Welcome back, everybody, to the RJS Automotive 200 and the Monsters of Speed New Gen Cup Series. I am Mike Demoni up in the booth for Sim Racing Media. You guys didn't miss anything. Looks like you saw a couple passes as Dylan McDonald gets loose. Jonathan Cogswell into the side of him, and around they go. That is not what they wanted, as Wes Fuller and Kevin Gibney Jr. almost get together as well. We will go back and definitely take a look at that. Back and take a look from Jonathan Cogswell's point of view here. Jump on board here. Yeah, off the wall. Cogswell's trying to figure out which way to go. Nowhere to go. He thought he was going to slide up the track a little bit, and he did not. So everybody looks like everybody's coming in, except for maybe looks like Angel is staying out. It looks like he's going to try and play a little different strategy here. Whether or not it will work, we do not know. I have to talk to Angel afterwards and see if that's what he intended, because all these other guys are coming down for like 4 tires and fuel. Angel did last pit on that lap 108 caution. We will see how this all pans out. So as they make their way through this lap here, we will be down to 130. So we got 21 laps. We will see what Angel elects to do. It will be interesting to see if the 4 tires that everybody else took is going to play. I guess not everybody else. Looks like David Mazepin only took 2. Maybe just fuel. He is making his 6th pit stop there, though. But We'll see if Angel Santiago is able to hang on, or if he loses ground. But Angel was in the back of the field here, looking to see if maybe he can get some better track position. Like Angel's gonna go high. Last second, Blake Howell jumps down to the inside. So Angel Santiago will have the button on the high side. Blake Howell on the inside. David Mazeppa up 14 positions, elects to take the high side. Greg Wood Jr. down on the inside. Jonathan Cogswell. Mark Parkhurst, Austin Missler. David Mayo, Kevin Gibney Jr. and Zach Woods are all the top 10 right now. So Angel will have the button. The field will be under his control. We will see if he's able to get a good restart and jump down in front of Blake Howell. We've seen most of the leaders elect to take that bottom side, and they've had the better jump and have been able to save off the challengers that are coming up from behind. Angel has the button, working his way to the Geico restart zone. Waiting, going. Blake Howell stays almost right with him. Side by side they go. Blake Howell just to the inside and clears Santiago. Greg Wood Jr. back in third. Mark Parkhurst in fourth. Cogswell and Missler battling side by side. Missler down to the inside. Santiago goes high. Gonna try and stay out of the way of these guys on fresher tires. Jumps in behind Cogswell and Missler there. Missler on the inside. Cogswell on the outside. Kevin Gibney Jr. just behind them, looking to see where he can go. Zach Woods looking to the middle. Dylan McDonald, after being involved in that lap 127 caution there, is back in eighth. Down to the inside, goes clear down, going to use that apron to try and get by Zach Woods. Can't quite carry enough speed through there, gets right back to his back bumper. Down to the inside, going to try and make that pass on Zach Woods and see if he can get to the bumper of Gibney Jr. Zach Woods dives in behind McDonald there. McDonald floats up almost towards that wall, gets down right down on that apron, running the lowest line at that start-finish line that we have seen for quite a while. We have 16 laps to go here. And if Dylan McDonald wants to go back to where he was at the beginning of this race, he has 6 cars to pass to do it. Blake Howell just ran the fastest lap of the race with a 30.02, and he has about 4 car length lead over Greg Wood Jr. Mark Parkhurst back in third. Jonathan Cogswell hanging out in fourth with Austin Missler and Dylan McDonald behind him. So Dylan McDonald working his way back towards the front here. Has his sights set on Austin Missler as his back end gets loose and he almost slides sideways yet again. He was able to save it this time. He's trying to get all the speed he can out of that car. But Blake Howell is still leading the race here. We'll see if Greg Wood Jr. or Mark Parkhurst is going to have anything to catch him, as They both almost scraped that wall there. Trying to oval the track as much as possible to carry as much speed as they can to get to Blake Howell. They want to try and get as many points as they can in order to qualify for the top 8 next round. They have this race and New Hampshire to get it done. Make that qualifying round of 8. Greg Wood Jr., Mark Parkhurst, Jonathan Cogswell. Looks like Angel Santiago did not make the right call there with those tires, as he is now back in 16th. But he had to do something to get a little bit of track position. So we'll see how it all pans out towards the end of the race. Mark Parkhurst up in 3rd, Jonathan Cogswell 4th. Dylan McDonald now has Austin Missler on his back bumper to deal with, as Missler was able to get by Kevin Gibney Jr. We have George Jewell, Zach Woods, Wes Fuller, Ira Kohlhaas, and David Mayo now. With 10 laps to go, Blake Howell leads the field by a half second. Looks like Greg Wood Jr. is starting to slow down just a little bit off of the pace of Blake Howell. Mark Parkhurst is running a little bit slower as well. Jonathan Cogswell, though, is running faster than the leader at the moment, but he is back behind Parkhurst and Greg Wood Jr. Come back there. Let's see what it looks like from the nose of his car. Cogswell in that Roasted Jim's Coffee, number 27 Ford. Like he's just trying to keep it nice and smooth. Greg Wood Jr., Parkhurst both run a little bit different lines coming out of the corner to the start-finish line. 8 laps to go. Cogswell keeps getting pretty close to that back bumper of the 4 Ford of Mark Parkhurst, but just can't quite get there. Like we got a little bit of a battle back here between Ira Kohlhaas and Zach Woods. Kohlhaas almost making it to the back bumper, but just couldn't quite make it there to get that pass. Blake Howell up front, beginning to pull away from the field. Mark Parkhurst down to the inside of Greg Wood Jr. Going to try and make that pass as they come to turns 3 and 4, and he will clear off here in a second. Jonathan Cogswell looking to the inside as well. Dylan McDonald jumps up behind Greg Wood Jr. Going to see about making it maybe 3 wide here. He has tons of speed. As Cogswell, Wood Jr., and McDonald are 3 wide, Austin Missler is trying to pick which line is going to be the one to go, as they are still 3 wide coming down the backstretch. Dylan McDonald on that high side, Cogswell down on the low line. McDonald slowing down just a little bit. They bump, but we stay green. All 3 of them about got together there. Ooh, Missler and Wood Jr. almost hit. Causes Wood Jr. to go up into Dylan McDonald. Side by side, they go down the backstretch. Greg Wood Jr. tucks in behind McDonald. Slides off of his bumper there. Saw a little bit of sparks. Austin Missler makes his way. Greg Wood Jr. back into the back bumper of McDonald again. These guys are battling it out here for every position on the track. Austin Missler down on the inside. Dylan McDonald up high. Greg Wood Jr. ducks low, and they are 3 wide again. Greg Wood Jr. lifts and goes behind Missler. Dylan McDonald still on that high side by side. Missler gets a little bit of a run as we are now 3 to go. Blake Howell and Mark Parkhurst love to be seeing this in their rearview mirror. These guys are not going to catch him if they keep running this way. See if we're going to have a battle up here, but it does not look like it. Maybe for second and third, as Cogswell and Parkhurst are within a 1/10 of a second of each other, but these guys are battling it back here. Kevin Gibney Jr. gets loose into the wall. Wes Fuller, George Jewell, all touch. Dylan McDonald was able to clear off, and now he is got 0.3 of a second lead over Austin Missler and Greg Wood Jr., Kevin Gibney Jr., Wes Fuller, and George Jewell. 2 laps to go for Blake Howell. As he comes to the start-finish line, he will get the white flag. So we will see if Mark Parkhurst or Jonathan Cogswell is able to jump each other for P2, or if Mark Parkhurst is going to be able to hold off Jonathan Cogswell. They are racing behind them. Kevin Gibney Jr. has Wes Fuller pushing him. Wood Jr. has George Jewell as he jumps down to the inside. Blake Howell will punch his ticket to the round of 8. Mark Parkhurst back in second. Jonathan Cogswell in third. Dylan McDonald, hard luck, fourth. Austin Missler, Greg Wood Jr., Kevin Gibney Jr., George Jewell, Wes Fuller, Zach Woods, Ira Kohlhaas. So that is a heck of a race. These guys were racing hard all the way throughout. We will see if we can get top 3 in here. Blake Howell is out there burning it down. We'll see if we can get Cogswell up in here. Hey, Jonathan, Mike up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, not too bad. Heck of a run there. You were up 11 positions, able to finish on the podium, and got yourself a stage win. How was the race in that final few laps there?
Well, I got a 3 wide there a couple times. It was a little nerve-wracking, but I got a little draft from my teammate on the inside to help me clear those 2.
Well, you said you had top 3 speed. You just had to hang on, and that's exactly what you did. Towards the end there, it looked like you were almost able to pass Parkhurst there, but not quite. But you got the points, and looks like you will be pretty much guaranteed to move on as long as you show up next week to the round of 8. So congrats on that.
Yeah, I was fast enough to win, but at the time I had to get out front, I made a mistake, and back in traffic, you just, you can't keep up with the leader.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. As soon as you kind of got cleared off, you had a little bit better speed, but dealing with traffic was rough here. Looked like everybody had a hard time passing, but I mean, you were up 11 positions, so you figured out how to do it somehow.
Yeah, I had a great race. First place in the stage, I mean, that's pretty rare for me, so that's awesome too.
Anybody you want to thank on that car tonight?
I'd like to thank Roasted Gems Coffee for the delicious coffee and the Lucky Ducks and my team I race with here.
Awesome. Well, I will put you back in and let you celebrate your top 3 finish, and maybe I'll talk to you next week.
Thank you.
That was Jonathan Cogswell in P3. Let's see if we can get a hold of Mark Parkhurst here. Hey, Mark, mic up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Hey, man, heck of a race there. Looked like you had the speed to win, but just kind of got mired back in traffic a little bit. How was the race from your point of view?
I thought it was a pretty solid race. We had some really good battles up front all day long. I couldn't get away from Blake there when I needed to, and then he got in front of me and lost a little on that pit stop. And I think that last pit stop's really what did me in, to be honest.
Yeah, it seemed like anybody who got out front, that if you weren't able to pass them pretty quick, it was hard to do so.
Yeah, I feel like I had the short. Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're good.
I feel like I had the short run speed on him there, but once we got into the long run, he was much better at managing his tires than I was, and I just kind of fade back a little bit.
Yeah, it seemed like that was kind of the way it worked. Everybody who had that short run speed there, the tires just kind of went away and they started falling back, but you were able to get up 3 positions, finishing in P2, put you in a pretty good position for the final 8 there.
Yeah, I got a home race next week in New Hampshire, but I feel real good about what I did tonight, so I think I can go in next week and not feel as much pressure as some people who finished more mid-pack tonight on how I have to finish next week.
Definitely anybody you want to thank on that Ford tonight?
Yeah, I got shout out Goose Graphics for making my scheme. My teammate Greg Wood at Pulse Graphics, he threw the banner on last minute for me, and huge thanks to Alfred Denny. So, funny story, about 2 hours before this race, my computer got hacked and it got shut down completely, and I was desperately trying to find a way to get it back online, and Al helped me out to get me here tonight. So, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even be here.
Well, awesome run. I look forward to maybe talking to you next week in New Hampshire.
And I hope so.
Hey, Blake, mic up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Hey, man. Heck of a run there. Looked like you didn't really qualify where you wanted to, but you had that long run speed. Were able to manage your tires to get out front. How was the race for you?
That was a long race. That was one of the tougher ones we've had all season. Didn't have the fastest car tonight, but played strategy right and took advantage of some people's misfortune and ended up getting the win. Really glad I could get this one. This is my home track after all. So this one means a lot to me.
Well, congrats on that. Congrats on punching your ticket to the round of 8 there. As you look towards New Hampshire, is it just going to be kind of a more relaxing run now that you're already qualified for that Elite 8?
No, not at all. Goal every week is to go out and win. Don't even focus on the playoffs right now. Just especially next week now, just go out there and try to win the race.
Awesome. Anybody want to thank on that Ford?
Yeah, I want to thank Tootsie's Orchid Lounge, Pedaltown Racing, 213 Simware, Red Duck Comics, and all the veterans that have served this nation. Happy Veterans Day to all out there.
Thanks for mentioning that. Definitely, if you are a vet, thanks for your service and thanks for your dedication for what you guys do. Congrats again, Blake, on winning. Look forward to maybe talking to you next week at New Hampshire.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it.
All right, that was the race winner, Blake Howell. Let's go ahead and look at the final standings here. Blake Howell, Mark Parkhurst, Jonathan Cogswell, 1, 2, 3. Dylan McDonald, a hard luck 4th. Austin Missler, Greg Wood Jr., Kevin Gibney Jr., George Jewell Westfuller, and Zach Woods with a top 10 finish. Ira Kohlhaas, David Mayo, James McKinney, Bill Sleep, David Mazeppa coming in 15th. Angel Santiago able to get back on the lead lap, finishing 16th. Ricky Gonzalez and Mark Gonzalez both having a little bit of issues there, round out the field. So that is it for round number 1. From Nashville Superspeedway. From everyone here at Sim Racing Media and all the drivers here in the Monsters of Speed New Gen Cup Series, I want to thank everybody for watching. And I will see everybody next week when we head to New Hampshire for round number 2 to lock in the round of 8 drivers. Some drivers needing to do a little more to get there. But I will see everybody next week. Thanks for watching, and good night.